wireless, so it's even worse.
Not encumbered by a cord anymore.
No.
Good God. You're going out in the ice and playing there?
I do every so often.
You're sick.
I get into it though. I mean, like, when I'm on stage, I'm completely nuts.
The crowd you play for, count me in, all right?
Yeah, it's pretty varied.
Yeah, well, it's pretty varied, but I mean, we're talking some serious headbangers.
Oh, yeah.
And to walk out there is like, I got a death wish.
Yeah, people in the first row at a gun show are pretty nuts. Yeah, even the first 10, 15 rows, and I can see because the lights make it so you can only see so far. And it can be pretty crazy. In Europe, we had people jumping off the balconies. And, I mean, we jump into the crowd, too. It's at the point now where it's like Axl jumped into the crowd at one of these gigs that it was one of those nights where it was just everything was technically going wrong, but it was a great show. And to top it off at the end of the night, just to get that last, squeeze that last drop out of it, Axl jumped into the crowd, and you just cannot do that anymore. It had gotten to the point where it's you can't get back. They just take you.
I'm going to ask you, really, the bus needs, I'm going to ask you about the worst gig in a couple of seconds, but I want to ask you, I just said to you, why was Axl fired, all right, because that's what I read, all right, and rumors abound, man. What's the most bizarre rumor you have ever read about yourself in the paper and said, please, man?
The one that we played with Stryper, did a tour with Stryper, was pretty bizarre. I don't know where that came from. Let's see. I think there's all the death rumors that we have constantly. We're all dying all the time. Because we shock a lot of people, and so people love to be the bearer of inside information. I think they just sit home and make it up. I don't know, a popularity contest maybe. Well, I know something, It could be a lie.
All right, let's take the image here for a second. All right, this bad boy image. I mean, you really inherited this from the Stones because I mean, the Stones. That's what 40 does for you.
Yeah, well, I mean,
it chills you out.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you look at it like us and them, we're sort of like the Stones and the Beatles or something because we're not scared to talk about drugs and sex and, all the other stuff that we may or may not be involved in, and some of our escapades, which nobody even knows about some of the stuff that we've actually been through, because it's just, that's personal, but people get a sort of air from us or something like that.
Are there pluses and minuses to this bad boy image? I mean, obviously there's insurance policies for every hotel you ever go into.
There's pluses and minuses to everything, I mean, this isn't like a self-imposed bad boy image either, so I don't make sure I do this or do that, just to do, this is sort of like forced on us, It was something that they just put on us. I don't know, why or what,
You've trashed many a hotel room, so I mean,
A few. It costs a lot of money to do that, though.
How much?
I don't know. It just costs a lot. I mean, I've been broke for a long time just paying back things I broke.
What's the worst you ever did?
The worst I think I've done up to this point was me and Duff both completely destroyed 2 hotel rooms in a Four Seasons hotel in Texas.
Why not pick the most expensive hotel in the city?
Because we weren't in it.
Well, Four Seasons is no schlock hotel.
Yeah, well, that's just where we happen to be.
All right. I said I was going to ask about the worst gig. What's the worst gig you've ever played in life? I mean, not because it technically went wrong, but because
the worst
people were killing one another.
I can easily tell you the worst gig I personally ever played. And there is no such thing as a worst gig for the whole band because, like, bad gigs and good. We have bad gigs all the time, to the point, like, when we're bad, we're bad, when we're good, It's like when the inspiration's there and everything, it's happening. You can't always go out and be great. But the worst gig I've ever done was we played a gig at the Limelight not too long ago. And if you've ever heard about that one, where I was just completely wasted out of my mind and fell into the crowd 3 times and all that stuff. That was sort of a drag. It was fun though at the time.
They should just take a mic stand and put it up your back because you were falling over.
Were you there?
No, I wasn't there. I know. I read it. I'm not telling you. Got all this stuff at home.
Yeah, I fell into the crowd with my guitar like 3 times. And something like that. That's happened to me just a few times though. I make a point never to get so bombed before we play that I can't keep it together.
You play Gibson, right?
Yeah.
What year is it?
I have a few of them now. I used to play 259s, but I put those away, and now I've got new ones that I completely doctor up and make so they're nice, you know.
What do you do to make them special?
I put my own pickups in them. I have the necks adjusted. I change the frets. I have them refinished. You know, whatever.
Do you have a really oldie? I mean, do you have one real rare guitar?
No, 59s are the 2. Yeah, those are fine. I'm not into vintage guitars for vintage's sake. It just so happens that Gibson produced the best stuff back then. You know, they've given me some choice stuff now, but this isn't off the showroom floor stuff.
That endorsement deal?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
So when I want a guitar, it takes a while before they get the right piece of wood. But I do a lot of endorsing for them. Yeah.
The way you see it, and I'm not gonna. I don't know. How do you feel about this? If I said you were heavy metal, would you go along with it?
There's facets of heavy metal in there.
All right. You would go along with hard rock and without even thinking about it, though, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What's the state of that today in the music business? Is it healthy, or is it the same dinosaur mentality as it was in 1981?
I don't know. It's better now. I mean, Metallica really. Metallica is a great band. If you know those guys, because I started out, I hated them. I hated anything to do with speed metal. And then, and so the first Metallica album that came out, I didn't even ever bother listening to. But when Master of Puppets came out, I was amazed. It was like great. They turned into my favorite people, my best friends, and the best band. I'm going to fly to New York next week to go see them, and they're great. What?
You guys almost wrote together, didn't you?
Well, we jammed, yeah.
Well, I heard it was going to be like Metallica Rose.
No. Actually, those guys, we're totally different kinds of musicians, but they're just great players. And really, I jammed a few times with Lars and stuff like that. They really changed things around because those guys have if you listen to their albums, they're perfect and some amazing chord changes and this and that and the other, and very heavy-duty vocals. And Megadeth's cool, you know. I like to hang out with those guys.
If Bach were alive today, or Beethoven were alive today, and then I know you,
he'd probably be impressed.
Oh, I mean, he'd be right. I mean, all they've done, and I don't say this lightly either, man, because this is no easy deal to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, they've taken what he did on the harpsichord and piano, they've translated to guitars, and they've just pulled out stops, man. Is there an 11 on this sucker? Like,
right, and so their new album's a monster, and so you know that's helped. I think us coming out has changed a few things. Now, the only problem there is I haven't seen what the actual results of the influence that we've had on the scene at the moment, but because there's still a lot of bands that are sort of riding on our coattails at the moment, and I don't like to I won't even mention names on them, but hopefully in a few years' time I'd like to see a lot more sincere and musical bands coming out, you know what I mean?
One thing I can say about you guys is that there's a melody line that will drag you to the next planet in your music.
Oh, that's cool.
I mean, really. Hey, it's not thrash. This is not thrash.
We built it out. Like, there's gigs where we'll go out, like the Ritz. We did a show at the Ritz in New York as an MTV special. I don't know if you ever saw it. But, I mean, playing-wise on it, it was just one of those nights where, you know, we're using borrowed gear, you know, rented gear, and all this stuff. We hadn't rehearsed in a month. It was the first gig on a tour. But, I mean, the energy level